Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the stream recap of Jeff's monthly Q&A stream. So this is sort of if you guys missed it or want a more condensed version of the main points and stuff that happened in there. I'll go over those real quick here. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I missed anything and you guys watched the stream, just let me know in the comments below. But I'm pretty sure I got everything. I was able to stay there for the whole stream this time around because the timing just worked a lot better. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and jump right into it. So first up is Jeff was on there and Iji was on there as well, the CEO of Force of Will, which was really cool. He was there to answer a couple questions and all that. So a couple of things we found out is first, Jeff and Iji are not going to be able to make it to Gen Con, which is coming up here in a week or two or something like that. So that's a little unfortunate. They did say they'll still have representatives there. Obviously Force of Will is going to be heavily represented there with a tournament and everything, so that'll still be cool. Just neither of them are able to make it just due to scheduling and different things like that. They confirmed that there is going to be at Gen Con some figurines, some Force of Will figurines. They didn't show or say exactly what they were, but they said they should be there for purchase, I assume, and stuff like that. So that's super cool. So if you guys are at Gen Con, be sure to take pictures and stuff because I really want to see what those look like, especially if they're cool. And they said they'll also have those energized coins, those sort of Malaysian ones where it's got the Force Will symbol on the back, and the front is sort of the nice glossy chibi versions of different rulers and stuff like that. So those will be there at Gen Con for however they're going to be distributed. Not sure how that's going to work. And they did say that those should be at Worlds as well, those energized coins. It wasn't 100% confirmed, but it's most likely. So moving on to the next subject. They did say that they are currently working on either improvements or a better distribution system for their product, especially for things like ensuring that promos get to stores. They said they're aware that promos, distributors will sometimes grab a hold of them and different things like that. So they're trying to work on a better system of getting that to make sure that it gets to your local stores and all that. They also said they are looking into more advertising options, and they're working on strategies to better bring notice to what the game does. They said that essentially how Jeff worded it was they have a great game, a great product, things like being able to participate in GPs and get flights to Worlds and all this cool stuff. Just people need to know about it. People need to find out about it. So they're working on ways to better get the word out, which is really cool. I think that's one of the biggest things I think the game is lacking is just pretty decent advertising, because like they said, it's great if people found out about it, especially Magic players finding out that it's essentially just a better version of Magic. It would really bring people over, I think. They're also working on a website, and one of the things they said on the website, I don't know if it's the current website or I missed some of the details there, but will be one of the features will be the ability for game stores, or rather for players to find game stores that are hosting Force of Will, so you're not just finding random stuff and trying to do hit and misses and stuff like that. You'll be able to easily find stuff, which would be really cool, especially for things like sometimes like I go and I visit like family in California and different things like that. So it'd be cool just to pull up a thing and find out, oh, I've got free time and I brought my deck, so I'll go there or something like that. As far as willpower rewards, in case people are wondering about this, I know Oscar was, they're going to be announcing what those are in August. He didn't give an exact time, if it's going to be early, mid, late August, anything like that, just sometime in August. So I assume sometime probably mid-August is probably when we'll start to look out for what those willpower rewards be. So I have a lot of stacks of codes to scan because I like to procrastinate, so that's going to be fun. As far as runes go, he said some runes are going to have adjusted costs for rune deck versus main deck, and what that means is essentially you could have a rune that's in your rune deck. I don't know what combination this could be. He didn't go into specifics, but for example, a rune could be in your rune deck and it costs 1 light, 1 void, but if it's in your main deck, it'll cost 1 light and 2 void, or something like something like that. So there'll be things like that. Like we've said before, there will be runes that can only be used with specific rulers or colors, and there will be some runes that can only go inside of your rune deck. There will be others that can go inside of your rune deck or your main deck, and different things like that. They also confirmed that there will be 2 major green abilities that are going to be moving out of the green color wheel. And he didn't say what they were or anything like that, just that they were in major things in green, and now they've moved elsewhere. So that'll be interesting to find out what exactly that is. It'll probably be easy to identify as soon as we see the spoilers and see a color that has ability that we would have normally associated with green. They did confirm that they are with a new print company. If you guys weren't aware, they had switched print companies back after R2, I believe it was. So R3 and R4 were with a different print company, and that's when we first got all the problems with the misprint rulers, the crappy booster boxes, the print problems, and the code card problems. Just a whole bunch of stuff, both with R3 and R4. Those problems continued, not as severely in R4, but they were still there. So they are switching print companies going into New Valhalla. There's no specifics on it. He said there's no word on the box design and what that company could do. The previous company just physically couldn't make boxes nicer than ones that was essentially when you know how you used to take it, you were too poor or too lazy to go buy an envelope to mail a letter, so you took a piece of paper and did the folding and tape to make your own envelope. That's what those boxes felt like, if we're being honest. So it'll be nice to, even if they're not able to do the legit boxes, which I hope they can, but if they're not able to do the legit boxes everybody liked, at least they'll hopefully be better quality than that. Said the next set should still have God packs. He wasn't able to fully confirm it, but he's pretty sure that they will still have God packs going forward. And he addressed the reason for the dip in the card pool size for the new Valhalla. So if you guys weren't aware, during Rhea Cluster, they upped the amount of cards to 150 or 156, I forget, basically to help with things like sealed and draft and all those types of formats. And they're going back to 110 cards in New Valhalla. And one of the main reasons is they wanted to make sure that players, especially if they were to buy, say, a set of 3 boxes, if you buy 3 boxes, you should, for the most part, get play sets of most of the cards that you want in order to play the game. If you buy 3 boxes, you should have enough product to play the game, was basically how he worded it. And with the 150 card pool, that just wasn't happening. It's just not physically possible. And so this is just better for players getting into the game, current players who just want to make sure they get all the cards they want to play it. And if you buy 3 boxes, you should be pretty close to that, was his thoughts essentially on that. He confirmed there's no standby or stealth cards in New Valhalla, so and he gave out his reasons, like the triggers are a little bit weird, how the timing works, a bunch of different stuff. It just needs to be really cleaned up and polished before they even think about maybe reintroducing that in the future, which is understandable. He did confirm that green still has the cancel ability, but he said there's only a couple cards that have the cancel for green, and it's very toned down from what we're used to seeing, which is very good to hear. Cancel, I think, is really good inside of a card game and necessary. I think just where it has been as of late, it was a bit much. They were talking about the Force of Will system, which is going to be a system where stores can basically say to the company that they're hosting matches and stuff and report the results, and different things will come of that. I'm not sure all the specifics. I think I missed a little bit of that, but they said that'll be releasing soon, so we'll keep you up with more info as that comes available. He had and Jeff did say he requested historical support in future sets. No word on whether that would actually happen or not, but something he requested. He did say if they ever did a Vingolf again, that his idea is to do a Vingolf that has just a bunch of support for things left forgotten. So things like historical, things like Pandora, I assume things like maybe Welser, or he had mentioned Freyla a little bit as well. Just all the long forgotten stuff that kind of got left in the dust. Get a whole bunch of cool support, or at least a little bit of support to make it a lot more viable. And that's a really cool idea. And I really hope that's something they're able to do, because 1, I love Vingolf, but 2, a Vingolf that's super applicable would be really cool. Similar to Vingolf 3, but even more streamlined. On the subject of runes, he did also say that all of the runes will have a minimum cost of 1, so there's not going to be any Regalia type 0 cost runes. They're all going to have a minimum cost of 1, and they all cap out at either 3 or 4. He wasn't sure if it was 3 or 4, but somewhere around there. So that's good to know. There's not any like 6 cost runes, not that that would be very helpful or anything like that, but 1 to 3. In the next, in New Valhalla, there's going to be a lot more specific centralized support. So going into Rhea Cluster, if you guys remember, there was a lot of talk about how it's going to be a lot of tribal decks, a lot of stuff like that. And so it sounds like this is going to be like that, but even more specific. He said if you see a card, you'll know that this card goes inside of this deck. So I assume it's similar to like seeing something like Discovery, which is draw a card, gain a gem of any attribute. Very specifically goes inside of a gem deck. I guess maybe it's not ruler specific in the sense of it only works with Tigris, but you know, you're mainly using Tigris if you're using gems. So I assume it's a lot of stuff like that, and he made it sound like it's even more so than Rhea Cluster was, which will be very interesting because Rhea Cluster, that was one of my fears going into Rhea Cluster, is that it would be too centralized. Oh, got a bug flying around. It would be too centralized, and you wouldn't have that freedom to build decks. And so that's sort of my fear, once again, hearing this, even though my fear was quelled going into this Rhea Cluster. And he did address that he wants to make sure that there's still sort of that room for players to still create decks as they will, and doesn't feel like the company is creating decks for them. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So we'll see when spoilers, he didn't give an exact date for when spoilers start, but hopefully pretty soon. I asked him about cash prizing. He said he had brought it up to the company about cash prizing, and he said there wasn't an explicit no, but not a yes as of now for this upcoming season. He says it's very complicated. You know, some countries allow it, some countries don't allow cash prizing, just law-wise. There's stuff like just the company being a Japan-based company doesn't necessarily believe as much in cash prizing as a way to do things. And as well as just the budget, things like the budget not being revealed for next season, or they don't know for sure yet. So a lot of different factors like that going into it. So hopefully it'd be really, I think cash prizing would be big for Force of Will. It would be really important to have, but you know, it's understandable if something like that can't come to fruition. And lastly, he ended the stream with 5 images from the next set. Not cards, just the artwork, but he did say what they belong to essentially. So first up we have this card right here. So he did say this is the artwork for one of the light runes, so that's pretty cool. Next we have this guy, which I forget who he said it was for, but it's another rune artwork. Really cool artwork. I'm sure Oscar loves that one. Next we had this, which he said is a card that goes inside of a Loki, which is really cool. It looks like Cthulhu stuff, which I wouldn't associate with Loki. And my first thought was also werewolves. I don't know if they're werewolves or not, but werewolves with the Cthulhu stuff that's also associated with Loki. I don't know what all this means, but it looks super cool. I was excited about the look of this one. And then as a tonal shift, we got this guy for Chimimi. Very, you know, riding a hippo and all that. It's, you know, that. And this guy, this gal rather, is a resonator and also looks super cool. It reminds me of something. I can't put my finger on what it reminds me of though. But that looks super cool. It looks like water droplets or something. I don't know what those are coming off of. With that she's like with her hand or whatever, but it looks cool. So yeah, that was everything that was from today's stream. Let us know what you guys think of all this information, and if I missed anything. Hopefully this wasn't too weird of a janky thing, but yeah, we'll see you guys next time.